this book was written before woke. Before woke ruined it. I hate it. It's a normal, we need to bring this book back. What's in a history textbook from 1855? Let's take a look.
Fuck. Howdy friends, my name is Milo, and today is a cold, snowy night here in New England. It's our first actual snow of the season, which is something that I've been greatly looking forward to.
The video begins in 3? Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to story time. Why don't we have a look at Goodrich's Comprehensive Geography and History of the Ancient and Modern World from 1855. The illustrations in it are absolutely beautiful. I got my little dual camera set up here. I'm almost pretending to be professional a little bit. The shape of the Earth is that of a globe, ball, or sphere.
There's a big difference in saying Western values were molded by Christianity compared to saying there would be no moral values without religion. Okay, but I don't think you want to associate, if you want to defend religion, I think it's probably the worst possible thing you could do to tie it along to what is known as Western values. Western values inherently are, defending chattel slavery, colonialism, the Holocaust, the genocide of the indigenous population. So it's odd thinking that, if you're trying to defend Christianity and you associate Christianity with what you consider as Western values, that can be a really weird way to go about it, especially in a community such as this one, because I feel like, maybe I'm wrong, but Jesus wouldn't abide by any of that stuff, at least as far as I understand. Ironically enough, Al Franken, the now disgraced former Democratic congressperson, Al Franken, had a very funny bit about this called Supply Side Jesus. I highly recommend you check it out. Making fun of the right-wing free market capitalist notion of Jesus. Truly prescient. Very good.
In the early ages of the world, mankind supposed the Earth to be a vast plain, terminating on all sides in a shoreless sea or a region of darkness.
Do you think during the Roman Empire they said Greco-Roman values like Americans today say Judeo-Christian values? That's funny. I don't know.
I'm so glad that we have stopped thinking about...
They're like, the Byzantine were like, the Ottoman do not understand. They do not abide by the Greco-Roman values that we have. They are the empire of darkness, the Turkic hordes. They don't understand. All they know is horseback riding and being on the steppe and living nomadic lifestyle with horse milk. They do not understand our superior Greco-Roman. Oh my God, how did they get their ships directly into... How did they get their ships directly into the canal? The Bosphorus! They're overtaking us! 1453, best year of my life. It's called Istanbul, not Constantinople. Oh no, the Sultan. And he will be forever known as Mehmed the Conqueror. Okay, let's keep going.
Like that. This idea prevailed until about 400 years ago when the true form of the Earth was ascertained. Good word. SAT points. Though some philosophers seem to have suspected the globular form of the Earth at an earlier date. Go figure. Zones and climates.
Yeah, I don't think they were thinking any of that. I think they were thinking, ooh, I'm going to do pedophilia. And to be fair to the other side, they were also thinking, ooh, I'm going to do pedophilia. Both sides were saying, I'm going to do pedophilia. This is before pedophilia was invented, and everybody was doing it. Both sides. Clip that. That won't get clipped. I'm just saying, like, that's what they were doing. They loved that. It was very weird and very gross.
Man, the art in here is beautiful. Hey, view of the Earth is seen from the moon, as illustrated in 1855. Have a look at that. That's beautiful. I like that Saturn is like the size of, I don't know. I don't even know what those other planets.
You both sizing this? No, I'm saying neither side. Neither side was in the right on that, but both sides were partaking.
But whatever it is, Saturn is the same size as that guy. That probably isn't good. The various objects of the Earth are divided by natural lists into 3 classes or kingdoms. The mineral, including the soils, rocks, and waters. The vegetable, including trees, plants, and shrubs. And the animal, including all beings which live, feel, and move. Animals are endowed with instincts, which guide them in the pursuit of happiness. But man must reach his maturity and perfection by means of education. Uneducated man is savage. So we can already see where this book is going to tend. You're going to see some, a lot...
I think it's pretty funny that even back then, obviously, the proto-capitalist Americans had an unearned sense of superiority falsely considering themselves to be infinitely more educated than the barbaric savages that they were dominating. And that mentality quite literally has not changed. Adjust it to the current time frame, and you will recognize that the average liberal and the average Republican alike have that exact same attitude where they're like, we're Americans, like, we're the best. What do you mean? We literally dominate the world because they're barbaric. Ew. Have you seen the way Muslims treat women? Not me, though. I would never vote for a guy that took away women's bodily autonomy. Oops, never mind. That guy is now running the country, but at least we're still not Muslim.
A lot of that sort of savagery narrative. I'm gonna have a little sip of this and then read about the savages. Antiquity of the Earth. By examining the surface of the Earth, geologists have come to the conclusion that the globe on which we live has existed for many thousands of years. So, something we're going to see as we kind of work our way through this book is that obviously there are some scientific principles that they just don't have a very good grasp on. But, you know, as much as it's easy to laugh at that because it's so blatantly outdated, it's a really interesting point to read at because, you know, it illustrates this really interesting time where the traditional European views of, creation are now being challenged by the scientific views of, well, science and fact. Earth prepared for man. Previous to this time, no human beings had existed on Earth. But at last the Earth was fitted and prepared to be the abode of man. Adam and Eve, no way. I love these guys. And now God created Adam and Eve. At this point in time, the history of the human race begins. We are entirely...
Yeah, I love the notion of being like, we are obviously the superior beings that are fully equipped with the knowledge of Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve being the inception of man.
Indebted to the first books of the Old Testament for an account of the creation.
Not Adam and Steve. Don't say that.
And the history of the world for 2,000 years after that event. It is very interesting seeing historical outline of the Earth, and it starts with talking about dating the age of the Earth itself, and then within like 3 sentences it starts talking about Cain and Abel. For those of you wondering, wanting to drink along at home with me, this is Earl Grey tea. It's good for you. Builds strong bones and teeth, and then turns those strong bones and teeth yellow and makes you look British. One time I got a comment, I made like some joke about British people's teeth at some point in one of my videos as like...
Let me guess, they said it was a classist argument that you were making, or inherently racist against the British. But this kind of racism is considered acceptable racism, which is why it's actually so much worse than anti-black racism, which many people understand is unacceptable, is the type of argument that I hear all the time whenever I do bravophobia.
Like an offhanded jab, and someone called me racist for it. And I still don't know how to feel about that, so I'm gonna let you guys unpack that one.
Yes!
Alright, what do they have to say about Africa? The greater part of Africa lies within the tropics, and here are the hottest portions of the globe. The country is remarkable... The country? That is the biggest goddamn country I've ever seen! The country is remarkable for many curious animals and a peculiar race of people... Wow, I'm not gonna say that one. We're gonna put that up on Still Store, Cambot. What do you think of that, Gianfranco? You think that's problematic? I don't know if I can say that. But I like that I'm talking to this camera like it's my editor. How you doing, Gianfranco? It's good to have you here, man. Let's move on to North America. Alright, I think our geographic information about North America is probably pretty unchanged. I don't think any new mountain ranges have come up since 1855. Oh my god, look at this map. That is so great. Holy... Yeah, so Oklahoma is still Indian territory. Nebraska is one big piece of land.
It's back though. Oklahoma is back in the rightful hands once again.
And the Dakotas aren't even a thing yet. It's just one big Minnesota. We got our gold region right here, mouth of the Mississippi, Colorado River. Man, that's cool. The United States occupy the middle part of North America and are remarkable as being the most enlightened and populous country in America. And the most powerful republic in the world. That's funny. I guess this was before the United States of America became synonymous with America. The Indians are greatly reduced from their original population and probably do not exceed 400,000. Some of them have partly adopted the habits of civilized life, but many of...
Bro, this is just straight up just like posterizing a W, and the W, when you look a little bit deeper into it, is just genocide. That's crazy to be like, yeah, we did it. We reduced their numbers to a mere 400,000.
Them still make hunting and war their chief pursuits. Okay, at least try to not make them sound so awesome when you're trying to write your propaganda book. What do you guys do? Well, we go into these giant factories and then we just make cotton textile until we either are done after a 12-hour day or my leg gets ripped off. Why? What do you do? Hunting and war. Oh, there we go, baby. Look at that map. She's so beautiful. We're moving along. Yeah, New England, let's go. All right, New England, what do we got? Historical incidents. Indian Wars. At the time of the first attempts at settlement in Maine, it appears to have been the residence of powerful tribes of Indians. It appears to be? Is it that hard for you to tell that? Prowling bands of savages roamed throughout Maine and New Hampshire. I do have to say that this book has aged like a fine wine. The frontier settlers were obliged to abandon the cultivation of their fields and collect in fortified dwellings for the
I see no problems with the way this book is written. I still believe these things. I'm the average Republican.
purposes of defense. These were
this book was written before woke. Before woke ruined it. I hate it. It's a normal, we need to bring this book back. See? Before all the gosh dang liptards came in and did DEI equals die to the book.
Were often attacked, and though bravely defended, were sometimes overwhelmed by numbers, and men, women, and children put to the sword, or reserved for torture and captivity. Look into the fire. Think of the horrors. Think of the atrocities.
Okay, low-key though, the book is actually more honest. The only difference is that they're just saying it's good. I think that's the difference here, where they're just basically like, yeah, we genocided these barbaric savages, and it was awesome. Whereas nowadays, I feel like the liberal intellectual patina glazes over that aspect and maybe even tries to moralize these actions, you know? And that's the difference, you know? Is like Israeli domestic news versus CNN? Yeah. Benny Morris wrote this. Yeah, this is actually the new historian for America.
Massachusetts, let's go! Oh my god, Faneuil Hall, look at that. Gianfranco, do us a favor. Have a look at this map and then do an overlay of the city of Boston. Boston's my home city, for those of you that don't know. But they have done so much infill to the city of Boston, they have completely changed the geography of it, so it's practically unrecognizable from what it looked like when people got here. King Philip's War, what's it say about... King Philip's War, I feel like people don't talk about enough, but it's the closest that the indigenous population of North America ever got to wiping the colonial presence back into the sea and pushing them back to England. So let's see what they have to say about it. King Philip's War. This celebrated contest has been already mentioned. It began in June of 1675 and continued 3 years. Many villages in New England were laid in ashes and many hundreds of whites lost their lives. No indigenous people though. None of them died. They were all fine. War and farming, or war and hunting, I don't remember. The very existence of the colonies seemed to be threatened, but the English finally prevailed. Thank God. Salem witchcraft. Here we go. This extraordinary delusion commenced at Danvers, then a part of Salem, in 1692. It was a general belief at the time that Satan sometimes enters the bodies of persons and gives them extraordinary powers. I like that. It sounds so...
I'm cool that, like, we're kind of bringing that back. Like, we have brought it back, kind of, you know? It's chill. It's cool. Or maybe it just, like, never really went away. We've just, like, adopted it to whatever cultural markers we care about now.
So quaint. Watch this, Dad, I have extraordinary powers. Who's that? Is Goku? Just melt someone's face off. Some children in a pious family in Danvers being moved with strange caprices? Caprices? What the fuck is that? Were supposed to be thus in league with the devil. Other persons were soon imagined to be infested with the terrible mania. Shortly after, a number of those were seized and thrown in prison. 20 were tried and suffered death. That does sound pretty suffery. And at length, the whole community began to ask, where will this end? I cannot believe they have a quote in here. It's like a voiceover. Yeah, you're probably wondering how I got here, being crushed to death under rocks at the Salem witch trials. A little calm reflection showed that the whole affair had been an unhappy delusion. Too bad we
woke. They were like, come on, dude, we killed way too many ladies, dude. We got to put an end to all the lady killing.
Killed like 30 people. God, I love Massachusetts. We have such a weird history. Oh my God, what's this page? Is it today's sponsor is HelloFresh? Wow, that's weird. I had no idea that HelloFresh went so far back. That's right, friends, because today's video is sponsored by HelloFresh.
Okay, this is a 2-year-old video.
Meal delivery to it. What's the population of New York City? Oh, man. Wait, 1855? This is pre-abolition. I forgot about that. That explains why in New York County, New York, there's a population of 500,000 whites and 18,000 free colored people.
Please obliterate this bot channel. Oh, classic. The bot channel added again. Let me guess. It even added the part where I say, don't clip this video. And she keeps telling me creators have basically got this down. Classic. Wait, this video came out 3 hours ago, which is precisely the reason why I ask, nay, demand the clip channels not to upload. He zoomed in on my face. This is a bot channel, by the way, chatters. Delete this now. This is a bot channel, and we have no way of dealing with this channel. I've tried, okay? YouTube won't do anything about it. YouTube is too busy. YouTube is too busy destroying all of the fan-made channels. It already has 1,000 likes. I wonder how it happened. 1,000 likes, 252 views in 7 minutes. 2 comments. This is the bot channel, the Hasanabi archive one. It just like does AI editing, I think.
Oh man. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. I'm gonna need to take a shower after reading this. Here we are, the southern states. Someone get Aten Shea in this. He's gonna love this. That's a nice map. We got another nice map, another nice woodcut. The Indians, recently numerous, are nearly all removed to the Indian Territory. Yeah, the black population, who form 2/5 of the population, are a separate caste and mostly held in slavery. Reminder that this was written less than 200 years ago.
Okay, what's crazy also is that once again, it goes back to the same thing that I was saying, which is that this is considered, these are all the same bot channel. These are all the same bot channel. Okay. Anyway, going back to this, there is more honesty. There's more honesty in these textbooks than I think the way that we currently analyze these historical events. The only difference, of course, is that now, you know, we say it was like kind of bad. It was morally vague, whereas back then they were saying it was really good that was happening.
In the country that you live in right now, well, you probably don't. Actually, there's a very good chance you don't. I was actually shocked recently the fact that I have as large a viewing audience as I do in Australia. I was looking at my demographics recently, and I have no idea what you people are doing watching my videos, but good day. Okay, let's go back to
like a great example of this. You said this book is going to say the Civil War was about slavery and not states' rights. Okay, so what's interesting is the states' rights narrative came after the Civil War. During the Civil War, there was no states' rights argument. They very openly were saying, no, it's states' rights to own slaves. There are numerous states that openly wrote it. This was actually the South's war against like northern invasion in the immediate aftermath. This book is before the Civil War. I know. I'm saying that there was no. This book is before the Civil War. But the narratives, if you know anything about like American historical revisionism, the narratives actually started with the Daughters of the Confederacy. Daughters of the Confederacy was a group of people that got together that were comprised of you know, the daughters of slave owners and the like, that actively worked to undermine the historical truth of what the Civil War was about. And they did. They successfully worked in reframing the narrative of the Civil War around the South defending themselves against the war of Northern aggression. Remnants of that historical revisionism still remain in American textbooks.
To this horrible thing. Education. Uh-oh, that's funny. Education has received little attention in the southern states. I'm gonna give a little moment. This is a choose your own adventure. I'll let you put your own joke here. Ready? That was very funny. I couldn't have said it better myself. Did I say that you could do that? All right, if we're getting into the part of the night where we're gonna have to talk about slavery, I'm gonna need to get a little more comfortable, because this is gonna be a horribly uncomfortable conversation. I also feel the need to make a little disclaimer here. I hope it doesn't seem like I'm taking any of this too lightly. I hope you know that I obviously could have, like, a political fucking dissertation written on this book, but I think since all of us know that what is in it is really outdated, I feel like it's not horribly inappropriate of me to try and at least make some light of it, because I don't think I need to convince anyone that slavery and indigenous genocide is a bad thing. And if I do need to convince you of that, then...
Now, that was 2 years ago. The current public sentiment towards such things might have changed a little bit. I understand where you're coming from, but you would be surprised, I think. Just saying.
Then get the actual off of my channel and never come back. You know, one thing that I've been really shocked about recently, I made a video a little bit back about Rhode Island's state rock. You know, a pretty lighthearted topic in the grand scheme of things. It was just like a 1-minute short, and in it, I used the word colonizer. I have never seen so many people be so pissed about a word before. Like, it absolutely blew my mind how in a video talking about a rock, the same people who are all about facts don't care about your feelings are pissing themselves over me using the word colonizer. And so if that's something that hurts your feelings, I don't give a shit. It's very obvious that none of us who are here right now are directly responsible for the things that happened hundreds of years ago. But what we are responsible for is doing better. And by about me calling people 300 years ago colonizers, it just...
He has a really great attitude about all of this. I like this guy a lot.
...proves that we are really not getting very far. Either way, I know this doesn't apply to most of you, but I was just absolutely shocked by that. Oh, man. Holy...
I'm kind of surprised that that you guys said that he, like, collaborated with Destiny a bunch of times, because, like, I feel like Destiny is the type of person who would get annoyed at, like, the invocation of the term colonizer. I guess it's entirely situational. Depending on who's saying it, he would get mad. But this guy's awesome.
Okay, State of Virginia goes through every single county and their white population, free colored population, and slave population. And when all of it is tallied up, the total white population is 894,000 people. The total free colored population is 54,000 people. And the total slave population is 472,000 people. Sorry, enslaved population. That's just... It's really horrifying looking at this put into numbers. I'm lost for words. Ooh, the Everglades. These are extensive marshy thickets in the southeastern parts. During the late war, with the Seminoles, it always goes back to just killing the indigenous people, doesn't it? I was so excited. I was like, oh, this is gonna be nice and uplifting. I'm gonna read about the Everglades and we won't have to talk about genocide or slavery, but apparently we do. The Indians found a retreat in these thickets, in consequence of which the struggle was protracted for several years. It's a weird way of saying we couldn't find them, and they kept kicking our asses. Seminole War, I don't even think I can read about that right now. I think it'll just send me into a fit of violent rage. Curiosities. In the northeastern extremity of the state...
Hamas or terrorists get homophobe? First of all, I will never get fricked for my homophobia. I will always continue to be homophobic. I am an enemy of the LGBT, as everyone knows.
Near the Tennessee River is an eminence called Raccoon Mountain. On one of the precipitous sides of this mountain is a deep cavern called Nickajack Cave. Its mouth is 50 feet high and 80 feet wide. It has been explored for several miles without coming to the end. The floor is covered with a stream of cool, limpid water through its whole...
No, this guy seems dope. People are saying that he also raised money for the victims of the earthquake in Turkey, and he's visited the Turkish archaeological digs. That's awesome.
Extent, and the cavern is accessible only in a canoe. That's actually rather interesting. I've never heard of that before. I'm sure
that community's making app pictures of you with grok exploiting the homeless. Dude, they're just look away. Chatters, look away. Don't look at that madness, okay? There's no reason to bring it in here, especially.
It's been much more explored and mapped now. Gianfranco, give us the image. Alabama. There are counties that have a higher enslaved population than a free white population. Man, how did this exist? How are people so just shitty to each other? The Choctaws, amounting for about 16,000 souls, formerly residing partly in Alabama and partly in Mississippi, and the Creeks, about 20,000 in number, have been removed to the Indian Territory. This is way more depressing than I thought it was going to be. I don't know what I expected, but it was better than this. Oh my god. What's this? State of Alabama. Under the guidance of missionaries, the former adopted the customs of civilized life. They had a regular Republican government. New Echota was their seat of government, and here was the printing press. Oh, a newspaper alphabet had been invented by a native of the tribe. The fine lands of these Indians provoked the cupidity of the whites, and after various difficulties, they were all removed to the Indian Territory. So they assimilated, got your printing press, wrote your stupid-ass language, and yet something happened and they were removed anyway. Could it be that you just wanted the land and they were merely an obstacle in the way and you were willing to lie?
Good thing there are no modern examples of similar things. Just saying. I can't imagine something like this happening right now. Is there like a group of indigenous people that are being actively pushed away from their indigenous lands by a settler colonial entity?
Cheat and steal your way to success? No, that didn't happen. Definitely not. History is being rewritten by the goddamn liberals. Okay, you know what? No, I'm gonna get a little bit heated about this because I'm reading through this now, and it would be one thing if we were looking at this as being a historical primary document, which it absolutely is, and we are treating it as such. But what is horrifying to me is the fact that we live at a time now where there...
Okay, someone asked a great question. Why is this supported today? It's the exact same reason as to why it was supported back then. Because it's parts people just don't know or don't care, or partially because it's better to not care, and it's partially because it benefits people. Also, most importantly, white supremacy, Western supremacy, Western chauvinism, active dehumanization of the colonial subjects, active dehumanization campaigns of the victims of these colonial acts. Or yes, paleogenetic ultranationalism, a nerdy way of saying fascism.
There are political who will get in front of an audience and try and tell people that we do not live on stolen land. That is the most blatant lie I have ever heard in my entire goddamn life. We are reading a primary document right now that
This was written for the literate white audience in the 1850s as a part of an encyclopedia of the world. The audience was specific.
Is literally talking about the process of stealing the land from the people that were here first. And now this is a really important thing to note, because I think that the same mentality that makes people so uncomfortable with hearing about that is the same mentality that makes people so uncomfortable when they hear the word colonizer. When someone says that, at least generally I like to think, they're not talking directly to you. Or, you know what, I'll even generalize. To me, I'm a white person. What, did I come here sword in hand and start killing people? Absolutely not. Do I benefit because people came here and did that? Absolutely. But I don't support what they did, so I am now obligated to use the position that I have now to do better. I don't understand why this is a difficult thing for people to wrap their heads around. No one's asking you to bend over and self-flagellate yourself about it. We're just asking for all of us to get together now.
Okay, this seems like this is like verbatim what I have said as well about white guilt, or the weird ways in which people do actually engage in like self-flagellation.
And better. And so when you have these people who get up there and spread bullshit like this, it is just...
People will constantly also use that as a way to continue white supremacist attitudes. Like they'll just be like, oh, well, learning about history makes children feel bad about their race, and it's bad, which is why they shouldn't learn about historical colonialism and indigenous genocide, so that they don't feel bad, and so that we can undermine contemporary existing white supremacist values that are baked into our systems. You know, my feelings.
Such an obvious attempt to just do the divide and conquer shit. Oh my god, this video is gonna get demonetized, isn't it? You know what? America's making me angry. I'm going to a different country. The territory of New Mexico. That's not a different country. Russian America. Wait, okay, this is where this gets interesting. Russian America. Yeah, look at that. How bizarre. Alaska. Well, not Alaska. Russian America, I guess. Oh my god, I literally cannot get away from the racism. I was like, oh cool, how many people live here? Let's read the inhabitants section. The whole population is supposed to be about 10,000, 1,500 of whom are Europeans, and the rest are savages. Oh, hey, that's actually interesting. The term Eskimo, which is now an outdated term for the people who prefer to be called Inuit, the name Eskimo allegedly originated from a French word which meant the people of the snowshoe. And here it was Eskimo, like A-U-X, and it's actually written that way in this book, which is kind of interesting. That's very, very cool. Cool little relic. Well, let's read about this. The latter are partly Eskimo and tribes of Indians blended with those. They all live by fishing and hunting and are rude, ignorant.
Yeah, if this book knew anything about real history, they would say that they're Turks. They're Turkic in their origin, just saying.
And inoffensive race. We've failed as a species. Okay, let's read about some animals. I like animals. Animals! The polar bear, wolverine, musk ox, reindeer, and caribou, ermine, and arctic fox are found far to the north. The black bear, otter, beaver, muskrat, marmot, and wolf are common in the middle regions. The black and grizzly bears, moose, silver fox, Rocky Mountain sheep, and goat. Jesus Christ, there's a lot going on up there. We're going to a different country. I hate America. Yeah, Guatemala. The Catholic religion is established by law. Pop off, West Indies. God damn. Or, no, that's not West Indies. That's, Guatemala. The West Indies. Hurricanes. In the interval between the months of August and October, the islands are visited by those of terrible storms called hurricanes, to which the regions of the torrid zone are liable. Glad we don't have any more of those anymore.
It's kind of funny that, like, in 1850, people that were just saying that anyone that's not white is a savage still had a firm grasp on the concept of hurricanes. And now in 2025, people... I was going to say people don't call non-white people savages, but they still do that. And also now we think hurricanes are caused by weather machines and the government and also Jewish people that control the weather machines. We've devolved as a society. Wow.
French islands, the Dutch islands, the Swedish islands, the Danish islands, Columbus. Ooh, South America. South America is noted for its long and lofty mountain ranges, its numerous volcanoes, its extensive plains, great rivers, and rich minerals. It's got great rivers, what can I say? The desert of Atacama lies on the west between the Andes and the Pacific. Venezuela. The capital, Caracas, which before it was ravaged by an earthquake in 1812 consisted of 45,000 inhabitants. Its situation is pleasant and being elevated, it enjoys a perpetual spring. Oh, damn. Peru. Lake Titicaca is the largest lake in the South America. It is 240 miles in circuit and 400 feet deep. Its waters are fresh, and it is remarkable for the great elevation of its bed, which is about 13,500 feet above the sea. Wow. Chile was populated by a warlike race of Indians, less civilized than the Peruvians, but far more valiant and enterprising in war. The Spaniards under Almondo invaded the country in 1535. Based language? Before the invasion.
Dude, even back then, we don't invade. We simply come and then we are attacked by barbaric monsters. But those other guys, the freaking Spanish, they invaded. Even back then, dude, things have not changed at all. Okay? That's awesome. They were the ones who were invading, not us. We just kind of came here and tried to collaborate and then had to do self-defense.
Invaders could establish themselves permanently here. Beautiful. Buenos Aires, or the Argentine Republic. This one's for you, Gianfranco. The country has 400 miles of seacoast, but no remarkable bays. That sucks. History. Patagonia can hardly be said to have history. Oh, man, this is good. It was discovered by Magellan in 1518. The natives were described as being...
Bro thinks any amount of social media is more powerful to manifest destiny. That's crazy. What?
Of gigantic stature. Giants, race of giants, confirmed. Subsequent discoveries have ascertained that they are not a race of giants as the old stories represent them. I guess I'll just go... They are savages. God damn it. Take a shot every time I say savages. Sorry, take a shot every time this book says savages. They are savages, but they possess a few useful arts obtained by their intercourse with the Spaniards. Of government or political institution, they seem to know very little. Well, thank God for the intercourse with the Spaniards, because we all know that politics is genetic. Alright, we're going across the pond. England. This is the last place I want to be. There's literally more on England than there is on the entire continent of Africa. Which I guess, like, again, for the time, it does make sense. They just didn't have as much information about it, but it's still really funny. A knight, a guy with a shield.
No, I think they had plenty of info. I think that, you know, it just was a way to see the entire continent as a holding space for new capital extraction in the form of human beings that we enslaved.
A guy with a stupid hat, a horse-drawn carriage, another guy with a stupid hat. Scotland. This is the that I want to read about. Hell yeah! Look at that guy! My man's got a little basket. We love that. Characteristics. This country occupies the northern portion of the island of Great Britain and is noted for the wild mountain scenery and beautiful lakes. Near Perth are circular towers of unknown origin. There are large enclosures with vertified walls in several places. In the south are vestiges of Roman roads and camps and part of Antonine's Wall, which extends from the Forth of the Clyde. I don't know what that means. The first inhabitants of Scotland are supposed to have been a branch of the Cimbri, who migrated thither from Denmark about 200 BC. These first settlers were driven out by another tribe called the Picts or the Caledones, whence Scotland was called Caledonia by the Romans. It appears there were several tribes, and historians speak of them as Picts and Scots. Ireland! What do we have to say about Ireland? In the northeast, a large part of the population consists of the descendants of English and the Scotch, who settled in the country many years ago. These speak the English language, are Protestants, and resemble the native English. The rest are Celtic origin, their native language resembling that of the Welsh and Scottish Highlanders. In some parts of the south and west, many of the people know no other language. The native Irish are chiefly Catholic, and largely landed proprietors generally live in England. Well, that history is going to just keep getting more interesting as time goes on. France, definitely skipping this section. The Roman Empire, Germany, Northern Africa. Hey, there's the Sphinx, very nice. Oh, man, that's some nice early anthropology ethnographic drawings we got here. Wow, the Hottentots. That's a good name. Oh my god, wait, that was all of Africa? Hold on, what the f? Oh my god. Sudan, Ethiopia, Guinea, Lower Guinea, Mozambique. The population of Africa consists chiefly of Moors who occupy the Barbary states, Arabs who inhabit the Great Desert and its borders. Wow. The black population, who are spread over the middle and southern portions, and Caffres and mixed races, who occupy the southeastern border. There are also many states, many tribes scattered here and there, which partake more or less in several of these races. Oh my god, Assyria, we got Arabia. Alright, well my brain is starting to shut off a little bit, so I'm gonna say that we're probably gonna do it for now. I have plenty more books like this. With a little bit more forethought, I could probably make a video that's a little bit more structured than this one, but I hope that you guys enjoyed it anyway. I am currently in the final steps of finishing my massive project, which I still can't talk about yet, but I know I alluded to it at the end of the last video. So I've been just deathly busy right now, so doing a video like this where it just takes me an evening to film is quite literally all I can fit in order.
So the racism book, low-key, every book back then was a racism book
to get content out to you guys, so I appreciate you humoring me as I have
That's
a little
very
bit of
cool that
different
he
form of
had
video.
it though.
But I'm hoping that by the new year we'll be back on a regularly scheduled programming. I have some really exciting stuff coming. I'm sort of reworking the way that I'm actually going to be making my videos and producing them, so hopefully I'll be able to get them out a lot faster and be able to have a lot higher quality and stuff like that. And so I'm really excited for the new year, but right now I'm just trying to focus in on the holidays, finish the project I'm working on.
This is sick. This was a great video. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I have a 1924 almanac that refers to Hungarians as being a part of the yellow race. That's awesome. Yeah, go like and follow and subscribe to both of these creators. Both It's Been a Minute and It's Been a Minute, and also the Minute, the Miniminuteman.